Alright, I'm bored. I couldn't motivate myself to bike to town to aspire to talk to people in my town because there is no outlets. I have a fairly small city, there's just nowhere anyone is. So I'm going to attack Pokemon, and just point by point. You try and determine if it was obvious. Now the game's already been made, so for the developer to make it so each of your individual characters can have more attack moves, all they have to do is do the align right thing. I'm pretty sure they've already done the align next to something thing, so they just add more, they just replicate the code to add more moves into your slot post so that you can have more moves. To be honest, I don't know if they've already added it so that there's two different columns of your moves now, because I don't know. But that code was easy. Let's presume you've got about 20 different moves for every single different element. It would be incredibly easy to just add new name, balance a new number in there through the copy and paste function, and just change the names and add some stats so you can have like 70 different moves for each one, even if some of them seem frivolous. And when your Pokemon starts out, he could probably only have like 3 moves. Maybe only 2 moves if he's level 1. I don't know, who cares? And then, so as he levels up, when you get to certain increments, you unlock new slots, attack maneuver slots. Now for each attack maneuver slot, you make it so that you can specialize that slot so it's particular to a certain element, or you can boost the amount of damage that specific trait is going to have. Not damage, but boost the trait for whether it's dexterity or a special ability or special resistance or whatever. Whatever you put on that slot is characteristic of a boost, and you can make it for an element, and that slot can have higher RP or whatever, MP. When you get to certain levels, one of the slots that you unlock is specific to high power moves, so that you can only use like something that has like 5 RP or MP or something in that slot, and you would have a limit to how many high level MP slots you have in this. You boost one of your abilities, one of your slots up until it can facilitate one of those, at which point you're losing all of your MP value out of it because you've chose to go down to something that's a 5 MP move. Well, you still get the MP value out of it, but now you've lost like having like 60 MP on something that presumably was half decent because it was in that slot before. So the diversity and the code at this point are very, very easy. So as your character is leveling up, each Pokemon, it would take a lot of time for the development crew to give them a default stat bonus that goes up, but then you'd have a default stat bonus that you get to choose. You get to choose how you want your Pokemon to level up as he goes up. And I would make it so that there's an algorithm. The algorithm would take a little bit of time, but it'd be basic and pretty easy because you just play it over every single one of your Pokemon. It would just be like the standard thing that's always happening, where depending on the amount of moves that you do, the amount of dodges that you dodge, the amount of damage that you take, all those different parameters add into a little algorithm which set a certain stat that's going to go up based on your experience. Remember, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, and taking the time to put that little algorithm in there, it's going to cost them nothing. So you make it so your moves can have a combo. When you put moves in a certain order, depending on different parameters, you can type class them, you can give them different number values, there can be a rule as to why they have certain number values. When they go in an order, you're either going to get crits, you're going to dodge cast, it's not going to cost you your MP, you're going to reimburse your MP over a period of time, it's going to give you less damage your next move, more damage your next move, it's not going to cost you your MP your next move, just a combo that results in something. And it can additionally have special moves which are combo moves which aren't on your combat list, they just naturally come into effect. Kind of all coming about because I had bought a Pokemon game like 7 years ago or something like that, and I was really bored. I was having a hard time just managing everything, and it was just as shitty as Pokemon Yellow back when I bought it when I was like 8. Like, what the fuck? And the point is that even now their games are just the same shit. Presumably, from what I've actually seen of people playing on buses and stuff, it's the same shit. They market the same crap with a little bit of a weird graphics combat scenario where it's like, just, who even cared about the graphics? I sure as fuck didn't care about the graphics. If you're caring about the graphics more than you care about the gameplay content and diversity in the interface, well, what the... The game that I was trying to aspire to express, and I hope to continue if I got like 3 minutes here, is like something I would play, and I'm 30. And people are playing shittier games on their cell phones and all over the place, and it's like, come on. Like, Pokemon can be better than everything that you've seen on the market today. So you can have Pokemon MMO, you can have all the same maps, and yes, it would take a little bit of time, and it would be pretty easy to do, and you don't even have to improve the graphics. You can make them 800% bigger than they are, so that people have room to navigate around each other and avoid things, and it can automatically swap your server for you, so you never get congested and completely clusterfucked, but you can see people with their little Pokemon duels taking up like 4 squares that you can't like run into, and you can like go into like an actual observer mode just by like coming up and watching them. At which point, presumably, I think a good code would be that it actually implicates what you're going to meet in the environment, because everyone else is implicating those statistics. Now, as a player, you get all your different badges for completing all your gyms. So you've got like your 8 different gyms, and you've got like 16 or 8 different, I don't know how many different regions you got, but you would get bonuses for having your badges inherently, and then you get to choose which badge you want to own, and that badge that you own affects all of your Pokemon in your party. Like, that's how you train, like that's your energy, because it's all about relationship. So your morale is affecting your your Pokemon, and that's elected by what you've chosen to say, this is me. In addition, at certain points in the game, I would suggest that there are ways that you imbue your character that says like, this is who I am, and it's like the same thing, except it's just points in the game where one thing can be any element, you just choose who you are and you elect that for yourself. So let off-world quests are a little bit more meaningful, and then just like there's like reasons for like tournaments and stuff where the best of the best who are like hardcore for whatever reason go into that. And it's not that this is like, oh, this is a great game. You can have micro sales in a world like that, and you can have like people who are actually like invested in it, because I remember playing Pokemon a lot when I was like 9. And so I think it might be an aspect of the game, but when you had the cards, there was arenas. And so your field type, where you are on the map, should have some implication on your character's dexterity or on the implications of your environment. In addition, the game should completely limit the amount of Pokemon that you can keep in your NPC and like store. You shouldn't be able to be like this mass collector unless you've met like certain in-game parameters, stuff like that, forcing you to actually have a little bit more respect for your equity. 2v2 combat, 3v3 combat, 4v4 combat, you can easily work out how all that with 3v3 and 4v4 would work as far as rules go. It's not hard to think about. A huge part of the community. You'd have a limited amount of the legendary Pokemon, and there would be reasons by which you lose your pink slip or the Pokemon leaves you based on different parameters. It'd be pretty simple. And the environment can actually be NPCs that actually have experience that they build up on, so it implicates however people meet them. Pokemon Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire, like a decade ago or something like that. That was the game I bought. That's what I thought I was buying. I bought it at like a pawn shop for like $5, but I mean like for a little Game Boy. It was pretty fancy. If you roll on your starting Pokemon, it should be moderately better than if you choose your starting Pokemon. And yeah, starting region, because that's going to implicate stuff like what's available to you and where you are. Talking about like handheld Game Boy graphics here, so it's like that's what you're getting. Your Pokemon allegedly have these temperaments which affect their stats, so you find a Pokemon of a certain temperament, your temperament should be able to change, and your temperament should actually like affect their morale. Their morale should have implications on their dexterity, etc. If you're always swapping between a Pokemon and giving them all this damage and stuff or whatever, it's going to affect the way that their temperament, which will implicate how you should build them if you want them to be awesome in the end. You should be able to set a limited amount of objectives for yourself, that if you complete those objectives, the parameters of whatever Pokemon you're aspiring to or what energy you're aspiring toward, it's going to boost you, but you only can take so many different quests. Not so much quests per time, but like so many different quests. And there would be quests per time too. What does the multi-billion-dollar industry fall short of that? Like, bam, just destroyed Pokemon. Why even bother spending the $60 buying their stupid games when they don't even aspire to make them like games? They're just like chaff that they're running off this. Anyways, yeah, I'd love to go after their card game, but fuck it. There's just so much in the world that your family and your kids were invested in, experiences that they have, that they just shit on, and they don't give a crap about the market. So, like, the consumer, you figure they want to at least meet the old standard. They're not even meeting the old standard. It's just, like, embarrassing.